You're tuned in to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast.
Welcome back to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast, where we are building connections, showcasing the impressive and inspiring movers and makers. I'm your host, Lenore, and I'm super excited for today's episode because we have Khadifa Wong on the line. She is the director of Uprooted, The Journey of Jazz Dance. This film is Khadifa's feature-length directorial debut and features some of dance's most prolific and respected artists as they open up about what jazz is in the 21st century and where it's going. Khadifa Wong, welcome to the Brand Ambassador Select Podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I have to say, congratulations on all the success on Uprooted, The Journey of Jazz Dance. It's already won Best Musical Documentary at the Rhode Island International Film Festival. I just noticed that it's already the festival winner and audience choice at the Skyline Indie Film Fest. I saw that on Instagram, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're all a little bit kind of surprised at how well it's been received, but really grateful at the same time.
Now, what was your biggest motivator in creating this documentary?
It's twofold, really. My initial kind of motivation was simply to do a film with Zach Nemerin, who was the one that had the idea. And he and I have been friends for a while, and he's an emerging choreographer. And I really just wanted to work with someone who was so incredibly talented as him and a great person. And then as we delved further into the project and I started doing more research, and our producer, Lisa John Marreeve, had said, look, open it up to look at the entire history of jazz dance. When I started doing that research and I saw the social and political implications of what jazz dance represents, I was like, oh, this is, way more kind of interesting and a lot of fun. So it was twofold. It was a chance to work with some really great friends and people, and then also to have my voice, because the film really took off in sort of 2016, which is obviously Brexit and Trump's election, and I didn't feel like I had a voice in either one of those social kind of moments. And so I was like, well, here I can say something. And just because it's in the medium of dance, that's fine.
So how did you actually get a chance to work with legends, a part of the documentary, like Debbie Allen, Chita Rivera? The list goes on and on with the most creative people that you could find.
Well, we were very lucky. Almost everyone involved had a career prior to filmmaking as a performer, or like myself, a costume dresser. So we've been amongst all of these great people in shows with them for, knocking on 25, sort of 30 years, if you average it out between all of us. Lisa won't mind me saying she was, started first. But we were able then to kind of rely on a few people making introductions. And once that happened, it was an organic, beautiful kind of organic, just evolution. And once one person was interviewed, saw that we knew what we were talking about, saw what we were trying to do with the film, they would recommend people that they thought, you should speak to this person, or do you have a Fosse person? Do you have a political person? Are you aware of what this person's doing? And so from that, everyone just kind of made sure they knew that we wanted to hear every voice. And so once they knew that and we were open to it, we were like, send them our way. We want to speak to as many people as we possibly can. And I'm really proud we achieved that, but we still, with all of those interviews, know that we didn't get every side of the story. So, hopefully we'll be able to correct that. But even with I think it was 70 something interviews, to know that you still haven't got the complete picture.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people, yes.
Wait, so Khadifa, you're in London right now, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
So were you filming this here in the States, or were they flying back and forth to you? How did that work?
We did it in blocks. So we started off in London, everyone came to me, which was nice. And then, we had to go around the States, and we would do it because we had to fundraise at the same time. We would film a bit, everyone would come back, we'd raise some more money, we'd get some more money in, we'd film a bit more, and then we would get some more money in, and then we would film a bit more. So, we kind of got better as each block, and as people started to, believe in us. And if it hadn't been for our first sort of angel investor and us putting our money in at first, we wouldn't have got where we were, because people need to see that you can do what you're saying you're going to do. And it's all very well saying, we have Chita Rivera, we have Arlene Phillips, we can get access to these people. They're like, until I see it in camera, you're just talking. And so, so we were very, very lucky that we had some great people in the beginning, without having seen almost any footage, believed in us enough to give us some money. And we're very grateful to them.
I could imagine. Did you get through any obstacles aside from, like, as you said, you raise the money, you film more, you raise some money, more money, and you film more? Any other obstacles that you and the rest of the crew faced when trying to create this documentary?
Yeah, I think a misunderstanding of jazz dance, because the moment you say you're doing a documentary on jazz dance, everyone thinks tits and teeth, and they don't think it's anything serious or a subject worthy of exploration. And so it was really interesting to see how people's kind of attitudes changed once they saw a trailer. And once we had got, sort of almost 3/4 of the way into sort of post-production, people started to kind of go, oh, okay, this isn't just a fluffy kind of film. And that's what drew me to our editor, Joan Jill Amarim, was when she saw the footage and saw who we had, she just went, do you think that this can be more than just a dance piece? And I was like, you get it. We're meant to work together, because you just asked me the question that I've been asking everybody else, and I'm so happy. And so I knew she was the girl for me, because it was just like, you know exactly what I'm trying to do, which is make this more than just fluffiness, because jazz dance is a really serious subject. And I really hope people see that when they watch the film.
So tell us, what is jazz dance?
So jazz dance can be interpreted in many different ways. And the most common is what people will see on the stage in musical theatre, or what they'll see on So You Think You Can Dance, shows like that. But actually it started off on the plantations in the South in America, but it was brought here by enslaved Africans, part of the Middle Passage from Africa. So its genesis was from African dancing. And so the most kind of best representation of authentic jazz dance is what you would have seen in Patting Juba, and on the plantations. The cakewalk was another evolution of that. Tap dance is another kind of incarnation of it too. So it's very hard now, with so many kind of influences being brought in, to say that this is one definition and one style of jazz dance. Yes, you can acknowledge the roots, but I think the best quote is a lady called Kimberly Cooper, who is from Decidedly Jazz Dance Works. She said, jazz dance is very hard to pin down, but you know it. When you see it, you see it. And I think that's probably the best way to describe it, without kind of excluding anybody, because what we want is jazz to be inclusive, and at times it has been quite exclusive.
So can you dance some jazz?
I used to be able to dance some jazz. Now I'm like, I've hung up my dancing shoes. And I did try and do some before filming. I said to Zach, I should come and do your class again, just get it back in my body, because I've been doing ballet classes just to keep fit. And I was like, but I think I need to kind of come back. And he was like, yeah, all right. So, stand at the back with a bunch of 16-year-olds. And if that isn't a humbling moment in your life when you're like 41 with some 16-year-olds, you're like, oh boy. But I managed to hold my own and do the first half of the class. And when it got to the actual dancing, where you're actually kind of moving in a combination, I was like, dude, I'm out, I'm tapping out. And he was like, well, I didn't expect you to get this far. So he was like, well done.
How did you actually start your own dance career then? Did you happen to see jazz or ballet, on television or at a theater, and you were like, Mom, Dad, that's what I want to do?
Oh, exactly that. I remember being about 3 and Fame was on the telly, and my parents were quite selective about what I watched as a little kid, because they didn't want me to absorb any stereotypes and things like that. So of course, Debbie Allen comes on the scene in Fame, Coco Hernandez. There's 2 very strong women that kind of looked a bit like me in terms of skin tone, in terms of their hair. So my parents were like, yes, you can watch this. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I want to be like those 2 ladies. What do I do to get to their level? And my mum chucked me in dance class, and the rest is history. And I did a lot of ballet, a lot of contemporary, and didn't do jazz until I was about 18. Don't know why. It just kind of, life just unfolded that way. But when I got to do some jazz, I was like, okay, this is actually a lot of fun. And it was a nice kind of, contemporary was very serious and very kind of like, what are your feelings? Let's explore, whereas jazz, you could just put some music on and go crazy. And that was the type of jazz dance I kind of learned. But now, obviously, this journey has taught me that there's so much more to it than what I initially thought.
Did I hear you at the beginning say that you made costumes as well?
Yeah, one of the best, what it's like when you're hustling, when you're an out of work dancer, you need a money job. You can't always make money doing what you love to do. And so I fell into costume dressing, which is one of the best jobs I think you can have as an out of work performer, because you're still involved, you're still immersed in kind of theatre world, you're still with the people, you've still got that connection to what you love, but you're playing a vital part in the show in the everyday running of the show, and you feel kind of included and part of it. And that's how I met Zach. I was a dresser on Mary Poppins. He was in the ensemble. And one of the interesting things is that not everyone values dressers as much as they should be valued. And Zach was one of the few people that didn't differentiate, because he was cast and I was wardrobe. There was no kind of, almost like a class line, you know what I mean? Like an upstairs, downstairs, Downton thing.
Yeah.
He was like, no, we're just great. We're on an equal level. And so we became fast friends from that. And I will never forget that he was just one of those people that never made you feel less than. So it was a great kind of job. And you get to see, costume makes you see everything as a whole, because it's not just one person's outfit. You've got to see how that looks on the entire stage. So I think it really helped with filmmaking and how you kind of create an image and put it together, because you're having to look at the whole. And I didn't realize I was absorbing that until much later, until I started to go into filmmaking. So I was training before I even knew.
No, that's actually perfect. And I think that you did give great advice without trying to give great advice on, if you are still looking for some extra work on the side, at least try to find something within the same field. So it helps you connect and helps you meet more people. And like you said, you've met so many others that helped you along with Uprooted as well. And who would have known like 10, 15, 20 years ago that they would have been there?
Yeah, it was amazing. Just even having in the shoot, so many people that I've dressed over the years are in this film, just in dance classes or, you know, interviews. And I'm just like, this is absolutely crazy. And who knew 14 years ago, 10 years ago, that I was laying the foundations for something as epic as this? But it really kind of does allow you to look back on your life and go, oh gosh, that's like quite an amazing achievement. I think that was the same for all of us involved in the film. We all got to bring part of our personal journey and our history to some aspects of it.
I love that you just used the word epic, because I think that the film is definitely epic and historical. And as you're going to the film festivals and as more and more people are seeing it, what's the type of response that you're getting back from the audience? Are they just in awe?
I love that people are relating to the visuals a lot, because Matt Simpkins, our DP, was just a rock star and worked so hard to get such wonderful visuals. And really, it was the first time that I'd worked with him. So it was a really nice thing for us to kind of figure this kind of visual landscape out, and seeing just how he ran with it and how he created something that was beyond my wildest dreams. So I'm really glad that people are sort of going, yes, it's beautifully shot. They love the story. And again, that was, you know, my work with Joan. We spent a year together in an edit suite, and she and I just had so much fun working together. It's nice that people see what you were enjoying doing paying off on the screen. But I think the most kind of difficult and interesting reaction we've had is people saying that it's a timely documentary. And I don't know how I feel about that, because we, in the wake of George Floyd and everything like that, they're saying it's timely, but we finished it over a year ago. So you have to wonder how this would have been received if we hadn't had these rather, you know, these horrible kind of events and all of this unrest and a pandemic and all of this kind of social change, which is necessary. And I'm glad it's happened, but it does make you wonder if even a year ago, people would have listened and have been as open to the message that we were trying to give. So I'm still trying to work my way through that kind of feedback. And I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing that people say that it's timely, because I don't know if we would have got the same reaction in terms of all of the subjects on race and stuff that we explored, which I find very interesting, you know.
No, I can agree, because it's like, oh, that's very positive. Like, you were right on the money there. But were you on the money too soon? Was that a good thing? I'm going to take it as a good way, okay? I'm going to say that you hit it at the perfect time. It's like you had this in the back burner running. It's like, I knew everybody needed to see this message, and I knew I wanted to tell this story, because you've been working on this for 4 years, Khadifa, right?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, so those issues were always there. And so it's like, these issues aren't new, and you're kind of like, okay, I get it. But in a way, it's good that people are more willing and able to listen, because it's going to then, I think, affect real change, which is what everybody wants. And at the very least, even if we don't get change, we're going to have a conversation. And I think that's the most essential thing that you can do, is just talk to people. We saw it in the debates last night. No one was listening or talking. They're just yelling. And you don't solve anything from that. It's got to be a dialogue. It's got to be a listen and a acceptance and a kind of sharing of ideas if we're going to make anything different.
And where do you actually see the future of jazz going?
I see it as quite positive, actually. I think what's going to be good is there'll be more of an appetite for the history. And the more that people know the history, the more they can advance and push this art form further. And I hope that means that we'll see them more on a concert stage, more at the kind of dance establishment. So in England, for example, I hope the Royal Opera and the Royal Ballet will start doing more jazz-based things, start hiring choreographers with a jazz slant. I hope that there's more funding all around the world for jazz dance, and it isn't just relied on by the commercial sector, because it's hugely profitable, but it should be supported as well by whatever arts funding bodies that there are, because lots of ballet companies get that, and there are a lot of ballet companies, there are a lot of contemporary companies, but there aren't many jazz dance companies. So let's see more of that. Let's see more choreographers and youngsters coming up and really pushing this forward, and not being afraid to not being afraid to have their voice, and more pop videos back. I really hope we get like dancey pop videos like we did in the 80s back.
Yeah,
K-pop is good, but I want the American and the British artists to be doing a lot more.
It's like you don't really get that many good dance music videos anymore. It's just like me with my bottle of champagne by my pool. Like, that's not dancing.
It's not the same. You want a thriller where everyone knows the steps, because people of my generation, we all still know the steps, and it's iconic. And I want to see more iconic choreography kind of in society, that it's a way of bonding people together, because the moment you do it, everyone knows what you're doing, and it doesn't matter where in the world you go.
It's a universal language.
Yeah, it is a universal language, and so we need to kind of get back to that, I think. Oh, happier times. I'm sounding so nostalgic.
No, you're totally fine. I feel like as I get older and older, I'm like, oh gosh, I just keep talking about the past. It's like, I wish we had this. I wish we still had that. It's like, yeah, time's moving, and so are we.
True, but I think we can bring some elements with us from the past, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
So where can we see Uprooted? I know you're on the festival circuit right now, but is there a way that maybe it will either hit theaters or even hit on demand, or what are the future goals for you, so anybody gets a chance to really see this movie and learn the history of jazz?
Yeah, we're working on it. We've got a few options. One of the things that we're sort of thinking about is maybe an episodic, because as I said before, we couldn't get everybody. Even with 70 interviews, we couldn't get the whole story. I think we got 90%, but if we did an episodic, we get that 10% and be able to expand on it a lot more. If we don't, and we've got the film, maybe my producer, she's going to kill me, but maybe we can make it 10 minutes longer or something. We're hoping that there's going to be a life after the film festival, but these things take time, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, so we're just kind of waiting to see what comes our way and enjoying this festival run while we still can. So watch this space. We're hoping that there'll be something.
What festivals do you have the movie coming to soon?
Oh, so excitingly, we've got, I think on the 9th of October, the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival, which is great. That's going to be in Arizona. And then at the end of the month, we're headlining the San Francisco Dance Film Festival, which will be absolutely lovely. And I did a really cringy red carpet for that.
What do you mean by that?
In my house, which is going to be really strange. So, if you want to...
What are you wearing?
Oh God, I've got a blazer on, because I packed away all my dresses. I was like, I don't need these. We're in lockdown, and suddenly they're like, can you wear something glamorous? I was like, I have sweats. It's like, I've been living indoors for 6 months. You don't need dresses.
Make sure the paparazzi that comes over only does waist up. Right. So party up at the top and casual down at the bottom.
So I've got, my tucked jacket was the only thing I could really find, and some red lipstick.
Hey, the red always pops.
It does. I was like, this is enough. And then we are at Rain Dance Film Festival in London from the 28th of October. So those are our next 3 really exciting film festival appearances. So I'm really, really excited for those.
So more on Uprooted, a journey of jazz dance. You can head to uprootedfilm.com. You can check them out on Facebook, facebook.com/uprootedjazzdoc, and on Instagram, uprooted.film. Khadifa, what last minute advice do you have towards, anybody that just wants to break not only into the dance world, but how you broke into dance and then went straight to film too?
Yeah, I think you have to, dance and film require a lot of personal responsibility. So it's not easy to kind of get someone to give you a break, and you're being judged on who you are a lot of the time. So know that you're enough and just do what's most authentic to you, because I think the reason why we're having this success as a group of filmmakers is we're all doing something that is authentic to us as dancers turned filmmakers, and we've used this as our time to learn, and now we can go on and make whatever films we want to make because we stayed somewhere comfortable. So I think instead of trying to be something that I wasn't, I just learned that I was enough and what I was bringing to the table was enough. So I would say do that first, and that goes for dance and that goes for film.
Uprooted, a journey of jazz dance. You can head to uprootedfilm.com. More on Khadifa Wong, you can head to khadifawong.com, KHADIFAWONG.com. Khadifa, thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait for your film to hit everywhere and anywhere. I won't tell your producer that I second the extra 10 minutes, so shh. And hopefully episodic.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Just let me know what petition I need to sign, because I got you.
Perfect. I will send it to you. Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the Brand Ambassador Select podcast. I'm your host, Lenore. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss one. More at brandambassadorselect.com, and we will see you next time.